What does a leader do in Agile? What does a leader do in Agile? That's a question I get asked quite frequently. What I like to do when I'm asked that question is I like to talk about how important leadership is in an Agile environment. Teams of people who are working in an Agile way can't work in that way without support of leadership, because our leaders help sustain and support our way of working. So I'm going to go a little bit here into a term which I'm going to call leadership agility. What is leadership agility? Right? And so leadership agility is a way of leading an organization that is adaptive, right? So we're adapting to changes in the environment or changes that we find or that we need to make through actually building this piece of work. Okay. And also we can change based on the feedback we get from releasing so frequently to our customers or our stakeholders or whoever is interested in actually this product and how it's going. It empowers teams to address complex work, right? So dealing with complex work means we need to remove those bottlenecks. So the leader is not someone who stands in the middle of teams. It's actually someone who creates the connections between team members and people within the organization to get things done. Leadership agility also enables an agile way of working, right? So whether you're doing something like Scrum or Kanban or something else, leaders really need to understand how those things work so they can best support it, right? And they should be able to also understand the things that make it work, and also the anti-patterns, so the things that might make it not work, right? So that they can see those smells and kind of help correct them, right? So leadership is really important to support those things. Without great leaders, I've seen agile transformations and agile working fall apart. So leaders are a critical part of working in an agile way. And the last thing I'm going to dig into is about how leaders create alignment amongst teams. And I'm going to dig into this quite a lot because I think it's really important. An example I like to use when I'm talking about alignment is that of a dragon boat. So a few years ago I was on a corporate dragon boat team, and that's one of the first time I actually ever was in a boat and learning how to paddle. Okay, and if we don't all paddle at exactly the same time, the boat really doesn't move at all. When everybody's paddling together at exactly the same speed, right, and at exactly the same tempo, that's when the boat actually gets that performance. And you can actually feel the boat surge forward every time the whole team rows in unison, right? And so that's, you can think of as alignment. And the same thing kind of goes for organizations. So it may not be a boat, but it's a similar thing. If we don't have that alignment, we don't move on our initiatives. We need to have that alignment to actually get that performance. And so how do we get that performance? Well, that's where the leader steps in and is really important in terms of getting to where we want to go. So here you can see a picture, right? So of an organization, and there's all sorts of things happening in an organization, especially a large one. There's lots of different teams, there's lots of different stakeholders, lots of different leaders, suppliers, vendors, everyone who's required to actually make things happen. And if you don't have alignment, what happens is you get a lot of conflict. Right? I've noticed this with a lot of leaders who have gone from working in a non-agile way to an agile way. Is people or teams might have different priorities, right? And so then you end up with a lot of competition for scarce resources, right? And that's where a lot of this kind of noise comes from. And so it's really up to the leader to help create that alignment. Okay. And how does the leader do that? Well, there's a few ways that a leader can do that. So the first one is making sure that everyone, so all of the people who are required to make things happen, are aligned in terms of their goals, right? So we all have the same priority, right? And by creating that focus or creating that environment where everybody can see and understand what our mission is, that's how we kind of can help with that alignment. The second thing a leader can do is actually help with creating communication paths between different people. So instead of being a go-between, which I've seen in many organizations where the leader is actually someone who kind of transmits messages, what the leader should be doing is actually facilitating conversations or communication paths between different parties, right, in the organization. So that was a really, really, really quick introduction to leadership agility. And we're going to have more videos here on the channel. So please subscribe if you want to hear more. And if you have any ideas or suggestions on what you'd like me to talk about here on the channel, please make sure to leave a comment down below. And if you like this video, please don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks again and see you later.